Right, so in this Unity beginner tutorial, we're going to add an enemy character. So let's just get started. So first of all, we're going to open the tutorial assets folder that we added in the first tutorial, and you can get for free on Patreon. So over here, we're going to select the zombie, and under prefabs, we're going to drag and drop the zombie into the game, like this. Alright, so this is our enemy character, and right now if we press play, basically nothing happens. We still have to add a lot of stuff to it. So first of all, let's stop the game, and over here, if we go under the zombie, this is the actual zombie character. And over here we have an animator, as you can see. If you don't have the animator yet, just delete it over here and click add component and type animator. And this is what we're going to use to basically have multiple animations. So let's just create the animator first. So first of all, we're going to go under the assets folder, and over here we're going to right click and create, and under animation we're going to add an animator controller, and we're going to name it zombie animator, like this. So if you don't have the animator window opened and animation window open in Unity, go to the previous tutorials and learn how you can actually add those things. So first of all, what we're going to do is select the zombie character and drag and drop this over here. Now this animator has been linked to the character, and now over here, as you can see, this is our animator, and we can drag and drop animations into it. So let's go back to the tutorial assets folder. Let's go under zombie, under animations, and as you can see over here, I have already prepared some animations for it. So first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to drag and drop the idle animation to the animator. As you can see, the idle animation is orange. This means that this is the default animation, which means that this animation is going to play when you start up the game. And if you select it over here, you can also see that the animation is looping. So now if you press play, as you can see, the character is running the idle animation. And if you select it over here and go under the animator, as you can see, the idle animation is running. You can also select it, and under speed, you can select 2. And as you can see, now it's running faster. Alright, so this is our zombie. Now let's go back and stop the game, and under zombie over here, select it, and we're going to add our first component. Our first component is going to be Rigidbody, which is going to allow the gravity for the character to work, and we're also going to create a script for it to move the character. Over here, first of all, as you can see, it's under the ground over here, so let's just move it a little bit up, like this, and press play. Now, as you can see, the character falls through the ground. That's because we still haven't added a collider. The collider actually collides with the arena collider, which is over here. This is the box collider, and if you scroll out, you can actually see those green bars. This is the box collider, which prevents the objects to pass through each other. But also the zombie needs to have a collider, and over here we're going to add a capsule collider. So just type capsule and add the capsule collider like this. And now, as you can see, the capsule collider is over here. We need to actually make it bigger. So select this over here to edit the collider. And now we can just drag up a little bit and also align the bottom of the collider with the bottom of the character. Like this. Alright, so this is going to be fine. And now if we press play, as you can see, the character doesn't fall through the ground. But if you move it a little bit, it actually falls over. So we don't want this to actually happen. So just stop the game and freeze the rotation on the x-axis and on the z-axis. So now if you go back and press play, and if you touch it, as you can see, it doesn't fall over. So now what we're going to do is we're going to create a simple script for it. So just add a component, and we're going to name the script zombie logic. Like this, create an add, and open the script. Now that the script is open, first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to create a script that measures the distance between the zombie and the player. And we're going to have the zombie attack the player based on the distance, and also the zombie is going to start following the player based on distance. So first of all, we need to measure the distance between the characters. So to do this, first of all, we're going to go over here, and we're going to type public float distance, like this. And over here, we're going to measure the distance. So to measure the distance, if we go back to Unity, and as you can see under the scene view, we actually have a coordinate system. So we have x-axis, z-axis, and y-axis. So if you click on y-axis over here, and if you select the character, and if you select this thing over here, as you can see, now we have 2 axes. So we can basically calculate the distance from the z-axis and the x-axis. So we're going to use this formula, and we're going to type it in the code. So to type this formula in the code, let me go back to Unity, and over here we're going to type distance. So we're saving the calculation to the distance float, and we're going to type, first of all, we need to make everything under square root. So to do this, we're going to type math.sqrt, like this, and now add these brackets. So now everything is going to be under the square root. And now next we have to add a square. So we're going to type math.p x2.pow, and under these brackets we actually have to type this, so x2 minus x1. Before we do this, we also have to link the player to the script. So to do this, we're going to go over here and we're going to type public game object, and we're going to name it player, like this. And over here we have to comment this, so the compiler actually ignores it and we can link the player to the script. So to do this, just use these symbols. So just go back to Unity, scroll down, and now because we commented, we can actually link the player to the script. So as you can see over here, it says none, and we can just drag and drop the player over here, like this. Now the player has been linked to the script. Now let's go back. We can delete these symbols and we can actually finish the code. So here in math.pow, first of all, we have to type the position on the x-axis for the second object, which means the player. So we're going to type player.transform.position.x minus the position of the zombie on the x-axis. So to use this position, we're going to type game object with a lowercase. If the game object is typed with a lowercase g, this means that we're using the transform that's on the same game object as this script. So in this case, zombie logic script is on this game object, and as you can see, we have the position over here. So we're going to be using this position, and this position is the position of the zombie. So go back to the code, and we're going to type game object.transform.position.x, and also let's add another brackets over here. And now add this symbol and add 2 over here. And now we also have to type plus, and we're just gonna copy this and paste it over here like this. And now just change the X with Z and another X with Z like this. So now we have both Z over here. And if you save this, go back to Unity and press play. And if you select the zombie over here and if you scroll down and if you look at the distance, over here, as you can see, the distance is measured between the player and the zombie, and if we go forward with the player, as you can see, the distance gets lower. Even if you go over here, as you can see, the zombie is always measuring the distance. So now we can actually close this and go back to the code. And over here, we're going to type a bool function. So we're going to type public bool focus on player, and we're going to set this to false by default. And over here, first of all, we're going to type a if statement. So if focus on player is true, then we're going to type a code over here when this happens. And over here, we're going to type if this is not true. So if the focus on the player is not true, then we want to check the distance between the player and the zombie. And once the distance is lower than, let's say 6, then the zombie is going to start following the player. So we're going to type if distance is smaller or equals 6, then we're going to set focus on player true. So we're going to type focus on player equals true, like this. And now when the distance is smaller or equals 6, then focus on player is going to be set to true, and it's going to start running this code. So in this code, we want to actually look at the player. So to do this, we're going to use the same script that we used previously for aiming. So we use this in the second tutorial. So if you go under the egg over here, and if you click on egg, we have an aiming script over here. So just open it, and we're going to use the same code over here. So we don't need the main camera, and we need those things, and we need the rotation speed. So just copy this and paste it over here like this. And now also go back to the aiming script, scroll down. Over here, this is our aiming script. Over here, we rotated the character towards the mouse cursor, and to get the position of the mouse cursor in the game, we used raycast. So in this case, we use the position of the player, so we don't need this. So we're just gonna ignore this, and we're gonna copy this thing. Like this, copy it, go back to the zombie script, scroll down, and paste it over here. And now over here, we have an error, as you can see. So over here, this is where we calculated how to rotate it towards the mouse position. And over here, rather than the mouse position, we're going to rotate it towards the player's position. So we're going to type over here, player.transform.position, like this. Now, if we press play, and as you can see, if we go like this, it's not rotating towards the player, but if we go closer to the zombie, so let's look at the distance. As you can see, the distance is 12. So focus on the player is not active, but if we go closer, as you can see now it's active and it's always rotating towards the player. We also have to change the rotation speed. We're going to change the rotation speed to 20. So just stop the game, go to over here, change this to 20. so the rotation is actually faster, and we're gonna go back to the code. Now we're actually gonna type the code, so the zombie is actually gonna start following the player. So to do this, first of all, we're gonna go over here and we're gonna link the Rigidbody to the script. So we're gonna type public Rigidbody, and we're gonna name it RB, like this, save it, go back to Unity. And now as you can see, we can link the Rigidbody over here. So just drag and drop the zombie to over here. And now as you can see, the Rigidbody has been linked to the script. This is this Rigidbody over here. So go back to the code, and now we're gonna scroll down, and over here we're gonna start moving the character towards the player. So to do this, we're gonna use the same code that we used in the bullet script. So if you open up the bullet logic script, and over here, as you can see, you use transform.forward and multiplied it by speed. But transform.forward returns a 0 on the y-axis, which means we have to actually save this calculation first of all in a vector free, and then ignore the y-axis so the gravity of the zombie still works. So we're gonna go over here first of all, and we're gonna type public vector free, and we're gonna name it movement, like this. Now we're gonna scroll down, and first of all, we're gonna calculate how to move the character forward. So movement equals transform.forward, and we're gonna multiply this by speed. We still have to add the speed over here, so we're gonna type public int speed, and we're gonna set it to 1 by default, or let's just set it to 6, like this, and we're gonna multiply this by speed. Alright, so this calculation actually returns a vector free, which means we have x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis. But for the gravity to still work for the zombie, we have to ignore the y-axis. So now we can actually type rb.linearVelocity equals new vector free, like this. And now we're gonna use the calculation for the x-axis and the z-axis that's saved inside of the movement. So to do this, first of all, we're gonna type movement.x. We're using the x-axis. We want to ignore the y-axis so the gravity still works. So to do this, we're going to type rb.linearVelocity.y, and we also want to use the z-axis, so we're going to type movement.z, like this. And now if you save it, go back to Unity and press play. And now if you go closer to the zombie, it starts moving towards the player, but the animator is still playing the idle animation. So to fix this, first of all, we're going to go under the animator over here. You're gonna open the tutorial assets over here, and you're gonna select the zombie. Now open the animations folder, and over here under zombie run, just drag and drop it over here. And over here under parameters, we're gonna add another parameter. So we're gonna click this plus over here, and you're gonna select bool over here, and we're gonna type is running. Alright, so this is gonna be our condition. If is running is true, then it's gonna play the running animation, and we can set the is running to true in our script. So first of all, we have to also make the transition. So to make the transition, select the zombie idle animation and right click, make a transition, and click on the zombie run animation. Now select the running animation and make a transition, and select the idle animation. Alright, now we created 2 transitions, and now we have to also select this transition, and we have to open the settings. Over here, we're going to turn off the exit time. And also we're gonna turn off the transition rotation, and we're gonna set it to 0. Now scroll down, and over here we have to type a condition. So press plus over here, and if running is true, then it's gonna run the running animation, which means it's gonna transition from idle animation to running animation. And also select this over here. Over here, do the same thing, turn off exit time, and also turn this to 0. Now click plus over here, and is running is set to true, set it to false. So if running is false, then it goes back to idle animation. Alright, so now we're gonna go back to our script. We're gonna scroll up, and over here we're gonna add a public animator. So we're actually gonna link animator to the script. And over here we're gonna type animator with a lowercase. Alright, so now we can save this, go back to Unity, click on zombie, and drag and drop the zombie one to the script like this, because the animator is located on zombie one. Alright, so now the animator has been added to the script. We can go back to the code, and over here we're gonna set the condition for is running to true. So we're gonna type animator.setBool, and over here, first of all, we have to get the name of it. So we have to type these symbols over here, and inside of these symbols we have to type the name of it. So I'm just gonna double click over here. I'm gonna copy this, go back to the code, paste this over here. And also we have to set it to true, so we're going to type true, like this. Now save it, go back to Unity. over here, click on zombie run. We're also gonna set it to 2 over here. Go to the game window, press play, go closer to the zombie, and now as you can see, it's running towards the player and it's actually playing the running animation. Alright, so this is gonna be fine. Now we're gonna be adding some health to the zombie, so we're gonna go up over here and we're gonna type public int health, and we're gonna set the health to 3. So this is gonna be the health of the zombie. We're gonna scroll down, and over here, first of all, before we do this, we're gonna go above this line and we're gonna type the code to check the health of the zombie. So if health of the zombie is smaller or equals 0, then we're gonna do something else. But if the health of the zombie is bigger than 0, which means that it's gonna run the else statement, we're gonna be playing this thing. So we're just gonna cut this, everything, and paste it over here. If you have to fix the spaces over here, just select this and press tab. Alright, so now we added the health of the zombie. Now we also have to lower the health if the player actually hits the zombie with a bullet. So first of all, what we're gonna do is go under the assets folder over here. We're gonna select our bullet over here, scroll down, and over here we have bullet logic. Just open it, and inside of here we're gonna check if the bullet actually hit the zombie. So to check this, first of all, we're gonna go back to Unity. We're gonna select the zombie and we're gonna scroll up, and under untagged, first of all, click over here, add a tag, and we're gonna click over here, plus, and we're gonna name it zombie. So we're adding a tag, and now we actually have to select the zombie over here, click on tag again, and now we can actually choose zombie over here. Alright, so now we're gonna go back to the script, the bullet logic script, and over here between the instantiate and destroy, we're gonna add if statement. So if other.gameObject.tag equals zombie, like this. So here we're checking if the bullet hit a game object with the tag zombie, which we just added in the Unity right now. Right, so go back to the code, and first of all, what we're gonna do is link the zombie logic script to this script. So we're gonna go over here and type public zombie logic, and we're gonna name it ZL, like this. So now we're gonna link the zombie logic script to this script. So over here, to do this, we're gonna type ZL equals other.gameObject.getComponent, and inside of these brackets, we're gonna type zombie logic, and also add this, and add this at the end, like this. Alright, so now when the bullet hits a game object with the tag zombie, it's gonna link this script to the bullet logic script. Alright, so now that we link this script to the bullet logic script, we can actually lower the health. So we can access zl.health. So this is this health over here, and we can lower it. So to lower it, just type equals zl.health -1, like this. And also, when we hit the zombie, we also want to trigger the focus on player. So to do this, we're gonna type zl.focusOnPlayer equals true, like this. Now if you go back to Unity, press play and shoot the zombie, and if you look at the health of it, as you can see, the health of the zombie is 2 right now, and now it's 0. But nothing happens right now because we still haven't added the code for it. So if you go back to the zombie script, as you can see, right now it's running this code, so nothing's really happening. Alright, so to fix this, first of all, we're gonna select the zombie logic script, and over here, first of all, we want the player to stop moving, so we're gonna type rb.linearVelocity equals new vector 3, like this, and we're gonna type 0 for the x-axis. We're gonna ignore the y-axis, so we're gonna type rb.linearVelocity.y, and we're also gonna type 0 for the z-axis, like this. We also don't want the player to rotate, so we're gonna type rb.angularVelocity equals new vector 3, and over here we're gonna freeze all the rotations, so we're gonna type 0, 0, and also 0. We also can copy this and paste it over here, like this. So this is basically when the zombie is still alive and it's not attacking. We just want to freeze the rotation and the position of the character. Now over here, next what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over here and we're gonna play the death animation. Alright, so first of all, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back to the Animator, we're gonna select the zombie, and over here under the tutorial assets, zombie animations, we're gonna add the death animation. So this is the death animation. Just drag and drop it over here. And now we're gonna link it from any state to def like this. So just click on any state, make a transition and select def. Over here we also have to type a condition, so we're gonna add a parameter over here. Select the parameters over here and click plus and select the trigger. Over here we're gonna name it isThat, like this. Alright, so now let's select the transition, click on add over here, click on add condition over here, and over here select isThat. Now go under settings, and over here we're gonna lower the transition to 0.1 like this. And we don't have to make any other transitions, because once the zombie dies, it's not gonna play any other animations. So now if you go back to the code, and we can actually trigger the trigger. So we're gonna go over here and we're gonna type animator.setTrigger, and we're gonna type the name of it inside of here. So just go back to Unity, copy this, and paste it inside of here, like this. Save it, go back to Unity, press play, and now if you shoot it, as you can see, now it's working. It's actually over here, and the def animation is also playing, but we still have to fix something. So if you go under the zombie, and if you go to the scene view, as you can see, the zombie still has a Capsule Collider. So basically, if we walk towards it, as you can see, we're interacting with the zombie collider. So we want to basically disable this collider. So if you select the zombie over here and disable the Capsule Collider, now it actually falls through the ground. So we're gonna use this. So first of all, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back to the script, and over here we're gonna link the collider. So over here we're gonna type public Capsule Collider, and we're gonna name it collider, like this. And now we're gonna scroll down, and over here we're gonna disable the collider. So we're gonna type over here collider.enabled equals is not enabled, like this. Now save it, go back to Unity, press play, and if you shoot it 3 times, we get an error. That's because we still haven't linked the collider to the script. So as you can see, it's none over here, so we just have to drag and drop the zombie to over here. Now as you can see, this collider is linked to the script. Now if you go over here and press play and shoot it 3 times, as you can see, now it's working. But the zombie still exists in the game. That's because we still haven't deleted it. So we want to delete the character when it goes through the ground. So as you can see, the zombie is over here, and the zombie is gonna keep falling. So we want to delete this game object, because after a while it's gonna start lagging if it has multiple zombies. So we want to delete it from the game. So to do this, we're gonna go over here and we're gonna type destroy. And inside of these brackets, we have to type the game object that you want to destroy. So in this case, we're gonna use this game object. And also if you add this symbol and add 1 at the end, this means that it's gonna delete it after 1 second. So now if you go back and press play, and if you shoot it 3 times, as you can see, after 1 second, it gets deleted. Alright, so we're also gonna add a small animation when the bullet actually hits the zombie. So to do this, we're gonna go under the animator over here, we're gonna select the zombie, and over here we're gonna add zombie hit, like this. We're gonna make a transition from any state to the zombie hit, like this. Select it, go to over here, we're gonna set this to 0, and over here we're gonna add another trigger. Trigger is gonna be named hit, and we're gonna scroll down, we're gonna add a condition and select the trigger over here. Now we also have to make the transition back to the idle animation. So to do this, just right click on zombie hit and click on idle animation. Now select this over here, and we also want to keep the exit time. So the exit time is gonna be 0.1. and also the transition time is going to be 0.1, like this. So after this time, it's going to automatically go to the idle animation back. So we also want to trigger this animation using the bullet logic script. So just select the bullet logic script, and over here we're going to type zl.animator.setTrigger, and inside of these brackets we have to add this symbol and name it. So the name of it is hit, like this. Now if you go back to the game, press play, and if you hit it, as you can see, it twitches a little bit back. So let's hit it again. But we also have a small problem. So for some reason, it's not properly rotating towards the player when you hit it with a bullet. So we're going to try to prevent this by going over here. We maybe want to try to set the velocity on the rotation to 0. So we're going to go over here. We're going to paste this over here. And in front of this, we're going to type ZL dot, like this. So we're using the rigid body of the zombie. Maybe this is going to work. So let's just save it, go back to Unity, and press play. And now if you shoot it, Now, as you can see, it's properly rotating towards the player. Alright, so this is gonna be fine. In the next tutorial, we're gonna add a script for the zombie to actually attack the player, and also we're gonna be adding some health to the player and the death animation for the player. So if that's something you're interested in, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.